You want the best for your car? You already watch our tutorials.
So the best place for the best deal is to buy from the Mr. Auto app. Easy, fast, and with better prices than on the website.
You will find the bulk control arms used in the video exclusively on the Mr. Auto website and through the link in the description. Turn your engine off and pull up the handbrake. Loosen the stud bolts on the front wheels. You must remove the wheels in order to change the control arms on your vehicle. This will give you full access to the suspension system. Lift the front of the vehicle. Place the vehicle on the axle stands. We strongly suggest watching the tutorial, raising your vehicle safely before carrying out this step. Don't forget to slide the wheels under the vehicle. In order to access the control arm holding screws, it is necessary to remove the drive shaft. Using a flathead screwdriver, remove the safety lock and the metal cover. To unscrew the hub lock nut, you have to prevent the disc from rotating. Ask someone to press the brake pedal. With a breaker bar and a 35mm socket, unscrew the nut from the hub. As the components to be removed are very often seized up, don't hesitate to brush and to use penetrating oil to facilitate the operation. Now, using a socket wrench and a 16mm socket, release the holding lock nut on the tie rod. If you don't have a ball joint puller, take a hammer and hit the lock nut hard just at the end of the threading. The ball joint should move away from the pivot. Only tap on the tie rod and pivot if you're changing the tie rod end, otherwise you risk damaging the threading. Brush the suspension ball joint retaining nut and spray it with penetrating oil. Using a socket wrench and a 21mm socket, unscrew the suspension ball joint retaining nut. Remove the nut. As you can see, it is not possible to disengage the control arm from the ball joint. So start removing the two screws from the shock absorber base using a socket wrench and an 18mm socket. Hold the nuts using an 18mm spanner. Disconnect the ABS sensor cable. Prepare a stable, elevated surface to place all the stub axle once you've removed it. Disconnect the shock absorber base from the stub axle. You can now disengage the control arms from the suspension ball joint using a ball joint separator. Pull on the stub axle to disengage the drive shaft from the hub. Then place the assembly on the elevated surface. Using a socket wrench and a T50 Torx socket, secure the front holding screw on the control arm. Spray the front control arm retaining screw with penetrating oil. Then, using a ratchet and a 21mm socket, unscrew the nut. Then remove the screw. Repeat the operation on the rear retaining screw. In order to remove the control arm, you need to lift the stub axle. In our case, we attach it firmly to the coils of the shock absorber spring. You are now free to remove the control arm from its slot. Start by brushing, then greasing the location of the control arm to facilitate the installation. Now you need to put the shock absorber base back into the stub axle and put the screws back in place so that you can unscrew the suspension ball joint. Using a flathead screwdriver, remove the metal plate protecting the ball joint. Using a 41mm striking wrench and a hammer, unscrew the suspension ball joint. In the most extreme cases, you will have to place the stub axle in a vise to remove the suspension ball joint.
Okay, guys, if we can share this video with you and help you save a lot of money, is also thanks to our partner, Mr. Auto. So, if you want to support us and buy the part for this operation, visit their website. Okay, back to work.
You will find the bulk, parts and products used in the video on the Mr. Auto site and in the link in the description. Take the new suspension ball joint. Screw it back into the stub axle. Then secure it using the striking wrench and the hammer. Crimp it into the notch in the stub axle provided for this purpose using a hammer and a chisel. Put the metal plate protecting the ball joint back in place. Clean the disc with brake cleaner and a piece of tissue. Remove the two screws holding the shock absorber base. Reattach the stub axle to put the control arm back in place. Take the new control arm. Put the new control arm in place. Then put the two holding screws in place. You can use a screwdriver to align the control arms and screw it back in with more ease until it makes contact. Tighten the nuts with a Torx spanner. Detach the stub axle. Then reinsert the drive shaft into the hub. Then insert the suspension ball joint into the control arm. Put the suspension ball joint nut back in place. Then screw it back on. Finish off the tightening with a Torx wrench. Put the stub axle back into the shock absorber base. Screw the two shock absorber base screws back on. Finish off the tightening with a Torx wrench. replace the steering ball in the pivot. Then screw the hub nut back on. Finish off the tightening with a torque wrench. Clip the ABS sensor hose back in. Now you can put the nut back on the hub. Ask someone to press the brake pedal. Screw the hub nut back on. Finish off the tightening with a torque wrench. Put the metal cover back in place, then the security lock. Then you will be able to put the wheels back on your vehicle. During this operation, you will work on the front end of your car. An alignment check carried out by a professional will ensure that your steering system is once again perfectly adjusted and functioning. Put your car back on the ground and plug the wheels securely. Operation completed.
Hi, it's Theo from UseTool. I hope this video has helped you a lot in your car maintenance. We would be super grateful if you could spread the word so that we can produce even more tutorials. Simply give us a like, a comment, and hit that subscribe button. It really helps us boost the channel and help the whole community. Thanks a lot and have a great one.